Hello, welcome. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome not back, but welcome. My name is Lauren. I'm a self-taught artist. I work mostly with oil paints. I'm also studying philosophy here in Germany, and on this channel I talk about my artistic journey and my philosophical insights and ramblings and questions in general, and more specifically about my artistic practice. Today I want to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a while now. If you haven't noticed by now, these videos are not scripted. That would probably make the editing process a lot easier for me. But I'm just gonna talk for a minute and hope that I get to the idea that I'm trying to get to. Let me just cut right to the chase, okay? I'm just gonna grab my journal and we're just gonna get into it. This is from January. Why do you think all the super famous, influential philosophers are from way back then? They were bored. They had so much time. Don't make being a student just part of some act. It's very easy for authentic pursuits to fade back into a mere guise of authenticity. In academia, this is especially true. You say you love studying, but do you? All you're doing is catching up and barely doing any of the reading. Even the way I was thinking earlier, come on, I need some great mind-shattering thoughts right now. Dude, you're not putting in the genuine work to learn this stuff, to be able to come up with the mind-shattering thoughts. You've spent so much time worrying about looking or seeming dumb or stupid that you've become it. Give yourself time to actually think about and process these ideas. The whole way you're approaching university is wrong. You really think you can figure out the problem of self-consciousness and inner subjectivity in a day? Really? Come on. Like you do everything in your power to not do the actual work. Like this is you. And then I drew a little picture. I'll show you. Here we have actual work in the little bubble, and then an arrow going around the actual work that says, me all the time doing literally everything in my power to avoid reading or speaking in German ever. Like you're treating your brain like a little child that wants everything and wants it now. Stop worrying about time. You spend so much time worrying about not having enough time that you don't even do anything with the time that you have. You want to be a genius now. You want to be brilliant in a day. It doesn't work like that. Like you've been running and trying to keep up with the idea of you. I've been trying to inhabit and animate the idea of my life like a rotting corpse. That's why you've been so unhappy. Stop circumventing your life. Also, stick with the mullet. Haha, that's the best hairstyle. Mullet forever. Very insightful day. I do need a haircut. I think that's enough to get to the point that I'm trying to make here. So basically, back in the winter, I was pretty unhappy despite the fact that on paper, I was living exactly the type of life that I had dreamed of. I was living in Germany, studying philosophy in German. I was selling my art and kind of building an artistic career path for myself. So on paper, I'm living my dream, but in reality, I was pretty unhappy and I couldn't really figure out why. And I ultimately discovered, as some of those notes indicate, that I was animating the idea of my life like a corpse. Animating a corpse seems like the best way to describe it. I hope that makes sense to you all. Basically put, I was talking the talk but not really walking the walk, you know. I was studying philosophy in Germany, but I was kind of doing the bare minimum. I hadn't been studying for 2 years at that point. And in terms of the work I had to do for my courses, I was kind of just doing the bare minimum and not really reading the text as closely as is required for philosophical texts, but just kind of skimming them and reading them enough to where I could kind of check it off my to-do list. With these philosophical topics, it's not really something you can check off a to-do list. Like you have to read closely, you have to read slowly. Sometimes you have to pause and you have to think and you have to take notes. And I just wasn't doing that. And so I wasn't putting in the work to actually have my own insightful philosophical ideas on the topics that I was studying in my classes or just thinking about outside of class. With academia, it's really easy to choose a certain, like an academic degree authentically and decisively for yourself, and over time to kind of let that passion fade and just let it fall back into the everyday, not really give it your all. And that's kind of what I was doing. And once I realized that, I could kind of step back into that and not kind of trail behind my life, but actually blaze that trail already. Does that make sense? And so that's what I discovered in terms of my academic pursuits. And that's been extremely helpful moving into the second semester, actually knowing that if I wanted to do that and I wanted to be happy in doing that, I had to give it my all. I couldn't treat it as something I had to check off my to-do list. I had to put my entire spirit behind it. So that's been extremely helpful. And now I'm actually enjoying living in Berlin and studying here and all that fun stuff. Just about an hour ago, I realized that the same problem that was affecting my academic pursuits is what's causing my artistic block as well. Actually, the exact same problem. I am not putting in the work that is actually required to become great. And I want to become great. And I know that I can. And I know that I will. But passion is not enough. Inspiration is not enough. You have to put in the work. Granted, there are some people that are born with a natural sort of artistic talent or a natural sort of philosophically inclined perspective on things. But at the end of the day, especially with art, it is a skill that must be practiced. It's not something that an artistic worldview or an artistic way of seeing or inspiration can't get you there. It just can't. And the way I've been painting lately and the things I've been painting lately, they've had inspiration behind them, they've had a vision behind them, but they haven't had the skill behind them. And of course, I am a self-taught artist, but I haven't been doing much of the teaching myself stuff, if that makes sense. I'm learning as I go, and I'm learning along the way, but I'm not doing nearly as much as I could to actually improve my artistic abilities. I'm just painting really large pieces and expecting them to become masterpieces. That's just not, yeah, sometimes I guess, but and every painting I've been working on lately, I keep coming up against this point where I just feel stuck and I don't know what to do. I don't know if the painting feels finished. I don't know how exactly to improve the look of the piece in the way that I feel is necessary. It's just like coming up against this roadblock that I know having more technical knowledge and practice of those technical skills would help me get past that point. But I haven't been doing that. No matter how inspired I feel, if I don't practice and apply certain technical painting skills, I'm just going to become frustrated and I'm going to give up. That's the main problem. I'm very passionate about what I do, but there are certain aspects of my life where I lack discipline. Sometimes it's as if I'm only driven in the moments where that inspiration or that passion for whatever artistic or philosophical project I'm working on is so strong that I can't do anything but work on that. But that's not how it is all the time. And, painting is an artistic practice, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't require discipline and practice and certain skills. This is why people go to art school. I guess that's really all. So how am I going to resolve this moving forward? I'm going to try to learn some stuff from the internet. You can learn anything on the internet these days. And actually practice doing some smaller, boring drawings, of like spheres and stuff. And learn to draw. I can learn to draw. I'm sure that will be helpful. Inspiration alone will not get you there. You have to have discipline. No matter how passionate you are about whatever you're passionate about, it's discipline on a daily and consistent level that will get you to where you want to be. And that takes practice, and it's not always easy, and it's not always fun. Even if it's art, practicing your artistic skills every day is not always going to be fun. There are days where I imagine I'll be doing painting practice or drawing practice where it's boring and I hate it. But in the long run, it's going to be useful. You can't become a genius overnight. You can't become brilliant overnight. That's basically it. I hope everyone's having a good day, and thanks for watching, and yeah. Bye.